All right, next event on the track. First of 3 heats in the men's 800. They're on the collegiate and meet record. Sam Whitmarsh is in the field. And in this first heat, we're looking in lane 5 for Wake Forest junior from South Africa, Reinhard Swanepoel.
And these rounds are just going to be absolute gauntlets because of how fast the men's 800 has been at the NCAA level. Swanepoel, the second fastest in the NCAA this year, won the NCAA East Regional. Also, Osama El Bushaibi representing Alabama. He, the transfer from Angelo State, where he was the D2 800-meter runner-up. He's kind of the wild card, a big factor for Alabama, and their team hopes for him to get through.
Qualifying criteria is the top 2 finishers automatically qualifying through to Friday's final, but the top 3 fastest times over the 3 heats that did not automatically qualify. So very much the same as the sprint races and the flat and 400 hurdles. Very tough. You got to be top 2 to be sure you're in the final, especially in the early heat when you don't know what's going to happen in the subsequent heats.
Keep your eyes on hip 3. That's Rivaldo Marshall, who is the indoor 800-meter champion this year from Iowa. It was a very tactical race. He displayed an incredible closing kick, really strong awareness, and then you have the duo from Iowa State there up front as well.
El Bushaibi in the lead with Marshall right at the bell. They go out in 52.6. So not blistering, but also not pedestrian.
In talking to coaches with athletes in each of these rounds, they're saying it all has to be quick because the talent level is just too high for anyone to wait around and just try to let the race play into their hands.
It seems a distinct disadvantage to be in the first heat of these 3 800-meter heats. You've got to go. There's Swanepoel now making a move to try to get in position. Again, there's 8 runners on the track, and you want to be in the first 2, and they're pretty tightly bunched.
Watch out for Finley McClear as well of Iowa State, 3rd in the 800-meter final indoors, so he's very familiar with this field.
El Bushaibi trying to go wire to wire, but that's tough to do. Shane Cohen of Virginia just moves out to lane 3 and runs by everybody else on the finishing straight to win it. He splits it evenly, 146.94 for Cohen. Finley McClear of Iowa State getting that second coveted automatic position. Swanepoel almost made it all the way to the front, but ends up 3rd. And El Bushaibi really paid a price for setting the pace and staying in the front.
Cohen came in with the 3rd best time in the NCAA this year. He was 2nd at the NCAA East Regional. That was a really tough regional. You can see that primed him well for the competition. Bided his time. Look how comfortable he is, able to glance around to see how much he had ensured the victory with a closing kick like that. He is going to be one to watch on Friday evening.
So Shane Cohen wins it from the outside, 146.94, with Finley McClear of Iowa State finishing 2nd. And Swanepoel and Kipyego and El Bushaibi have to wait for the next 2 heats to see what materializes there. Whitmarsh has a teammate in this heat, Kamar Farquharson, the junior from Jamaica, also in this heat. And they call it, Texas A&M, they call it 800U. And they just keep throwing half-milers at you every single year. They come up with more.
You have to look how relaxed Sam Whitmarsh is. I mean, he was smiling the whole way up to get in his lane, talking with people around him. He just has such a sense of calm about him to get to this point.
So once again, first 2 across the line, automatically qualifying through to the final, the next 3 fastest times. And Whitmarsh kind of in the middle of the pack as they break for the pole. Roden is up there near the front. Whitmarsh in the middle. Farquharson, Whitmarsh's teammate, currently in the lead.
Farquharson, incredibly talented. Coach Henry says he's a great competitor. He hates to get beat. He competes hard, even in practices. You think about the benefit of those two having one another. Sean Dolan getting a little tangled up there with Sam Whitmarsh as Villanova's Dolan moves his way up to the front. And now Whitmarsh is going to have to do a little bit of work to get up there. He has that long stride, doesn't want to get tangled up.
51-1 the first 400, so quicker than heat number 1. But this is where the work is done in this third 200. Whitmarsh in 4th currently. Now it has some running room, now making a move down the back stretch to join his teammate and take the lead.
Nicholas Plant from Virginia Tech doing a great job of going along and covering that move behind Whitmarsh.
So Sam Whitmarsh, the junior from A&M, controlling the pace through here into the final straightaway with his teammate Farquharson right there. Whitmarsh lifting. He's a big fellow, so any wind that's down there, he can't probably deal with it better than a lot of the others. Roden on the outside to grab that 2nd spot. So Whitmarsh and Roden, the automatic qualifiers from heat number 2. 146.01 for Sam.
And look at the reaction, all of the emotion. That is not just about that victory right there. That is about everything it took to get him to this point to be able to vie for an NCAA title, and did it in incredibly smart fashion, bided his time until the back stretch, had plenty of real estate to capitalize on, was able to use his teammate. Farquharson did a great job of setting that race up for Sam Whitmarsh, the healthiest he has been in his entire career. This is going to be a special race for him on Friday.
So Sam Whitmarsh winning the 2nd heat, automatically qualifying through to Friday's final. Therese Roden making a big move the last 50 meters on the outside to grab that 2nd spot. Kamar Farquharson, Nicholas Plant, and Sean Dolan are all time qualifiers if things were to end right now, but there is still one more heat to go. The bubble is 146.91. Marshall in 8. Bizimana of Texas, the senior from Great Britain, in lane number 6.
Also worth noting, that's Handel Robin of Penn State, who's right there up front. Easy to kind of identify him. He was 3rd in this event at last year's championship meet. Just behind Yusuf Bizimana, Camden Marshall doing a great job. The born and raised Hoosier from Corydon, Indiana, representing the IU program.
Pretty tightly bunched through this first lap as they come up to the bell. We'll see what the pace is. It looks pretty slow. In fact, it's very slow. No time qualifiers from this heat as Bizimana takes the lead. 55.3 for the first 400. This is going to be a mad dash the last 150 meters. to get those 2 spots.
Bizimana has the kick to finish with absolutely anyone. His coach, Greg Metcalf, said he did the best workout of his life less than a week ago. He is in phenomenal form coming into the championship, as is Camden Marshall going with him. Bizimana was able to fend it off. You could see Marshall wanted to go to the rail.
But everyone has to know how much run there is in everybody after a 55-second first lap. Bizimana, a little bit of a gap with Marshall. Marshall trying to hang in there. Marshall not giving up. Marshall now into the lead, but it's going to be Marshall and Bizimana who get the automatic qualifying spots. 1:48.16, no time qualifiers out of this heat, so the 3rd through 5th positions in heat number 2 all will advance on time.
What a display from Camden Marshall, continuing upon that fine form he found continuing from the Big Ten Championships and the NCAA East Regional. Bizimana did a great job of setting this race up, stayed out of trouble the entire time, really controlled it. Marshall had to go a bit more into the well to make sure he had those top 2 spots to get himself on to the final. Look at how relaxed Bizimana is. Marshall digging deep. They will be into the final as we now have those 3 heats complete. And Dwight, it's going to be fireworks on Friday.
I just don't know what anybody was thinking going out in that semifinal in 55 seconds after they'd seen what had happened in the first 2 heats. But that is what happens at this level. Here are your advancers to final. Sean Dolan with the last qualifying position at 146.91. Sam Whitmarsh, he is the leading qualifier, but anything can happen on Friday. So I always say, just get to the final, because once you're there, anything can happen.